think that's good. All right, so here we go. So yep, today, and I know this is looking kind of weird over here, but yes, today we are going to be talking about what I did, how I lost 60 pounds without any major exercise. And I know that seems crazy, but it's really not. And I think it's going to be something that if you decide to implement it as well, then I think you're going to see some results too. I do want to start this out by saying that I'm not a medical professional. I think I have to disclose that. But truthfully, no, I'm not a medical professional. So I would definitely, if you're going to start something, definitely seek out advice from your doctor first, just to make sure it's going to be something for you. All right, so with that, here's what you're going to be learning about today. You're going to be learning about what I tried, the things that did not work, what did work. And with that, you're gonna hear some science stuff today too. Serving sizes, the magic trick, like the one thing that actually did it. The high fiber foods, which I promised, and some deceptive healthy foods. So that's what we're going to be talking about right now. So let's talk about what I tried. Now, I actually tried a few things. I tried to exercise constantly. And let me tell you that sucked. I really don't have any other good way of saying it. It sucked. And it sucked hard. The next that I actually tried was a low carb diet. Basically, I tried to go and cut out all the carbs out of my diet, and that sucked too. I found with that one that I needed the carbs. I needed them. Not even just like a craving. No, I feel like my body actually needed them. And I think that by the time we're done, you're going to see why a low carb diet just is not going to work. I also did try Nutrisystem. My mom actually paid for the first month and I paid for the second month. And so 2 months, I lost the original 5 pounds that they promised me. And then after it was done, I gained more. So it did not help. I also tried fasting. I tried several days where I would just have nothing but water. I would lose the weight, but then guess what? It would come right back. It was very miserable. Very, very miserable. So I don't recommend any of these to you. So now that we've talked about the negative, let's talk about the positive and what actually worked. So I want to talk about some science. And if you're interested, I do have links to all the research that I did for this video. And so this is coming from the Mayo Clinic website. Mayo, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. But this is true. So 3,500 calories equals about a pound. I'm in the US, so I'm all about pounds, not kilograms. I don't understand kilograms, just to be honest. But it equals about 1 pound of fat. It's estimated that you need to burn 3,500 calories to lose 1 pound. So I'm going to pause here for a minute and I want to talk about that just really briefly. So would you rather work your butt off in a gym or running outside for those 3,500 calories? I didn't put this in here, but I feel like I need to go and find this out now. And obviously, this is probably going to change This is probably going to change depending on each person. 1 second. Let me see. All right, I actually do have. I'm gonna go ahead and share this chart with you. Oh, well, here we go. We'll come back to this slide for just a second. All right, so hopefully you can see that. So just by walking, you are going to burn 239 calories per hour. Jumping rope, that's pretty cool, right? But that's 750 calories per hour. So let's see if we can have a good, I'm looking for a good round number. All right, we'll do this. So doing jumping jacks right here. Doing jumping jacks for an hour, you're going to burn 546 calories. So if you do those jumping jacks for an hour each day, you're still, well, let's see, 5, 7, yeah. Each day, yes, you'll burn that 3,500 calories. That seems like a whole lot of work just to go and lose 1 pound a week. That's crazy. I don't know about you guys, that's crazy. I can't do jumping jacks for that long at all. So the point that I'm basically making here is that wouldn't it be a lot easier to just eat 500 pounds less? I mean, 500 pounds, yeah, that would be. 500 calories less. Now, I'm not telling you to starve yourself. That's not where we're going. But hang in with me here and it's going to make more sense. Yeah, it's going to make more sense. And Shar, can you imagine doing an hour of jumping jacks? That would be so hard on your knees. I have bad knees. That's kind of the science behind weight loss, is that in theory, you actually want to burn more calories than what you take in. That's the actual real true science behind weight loss. So think about it this way, and I'm going to put it here on my face for a minute. Sorry about that. So think about it this way. My sweet tea, right? So if you're constantly drinking more sweet tea, and it's sugar-free sweet tea, by the way. If you're constantly drinking more sweet tea than what you're putting in, eventually you're going to have an empty cup, right? That's the science. It's not going to all be empty quickly. I mean, unless you drink it all down. But if you're just taking a sip and then you're putting less than a sip in, then eventually you're going to have an empty cup. So, and that kind of really ties in, honestly, with what Fly Lady has taught us up to this point, right? Is to take small bite-sized chunks out of big projects. And that's what we're doing here. That's what I did when I lost the 60 pounds. It didn't all come off in a day because you know what, honey, it didn't get on there in a day. But even though it felt like it was just overnight. So that's kind of the method behind the madness. So I want to jump back in really fast, and don't worry, we're about to pause for questions. But I want to jump back really fast and talk about how you can find how many calories you need So there's a couple of links down there in the description. One is for this calorie calculator that you put in your weight, your height, your age, and how much approximate movement you do. And then it'll tell you how many calories you need to eat to remain status quo. I personally liked MyFitnessPal. There's a website and there's an app for Android or for Apple. And with that, not only does it have a really quick food logging, but it'll basically tell you the same thing. And you can choose if you want to lose 0.5, I think it's 0.5 pounds per week, 1 pound per week, or 2 pounds per week, but it doesn't go any more than that. And then it tells you how many calories you can eat that day. So then with that, and I know you're saying, oh my gosh, I'm logging my food. Are you kidding me? Well, here's the thing. You weren't mindful with the amount of calories that you put in your body to get to whatever weight you are, right? I'll say to gain the weight. You weren't watching them calories when you gained the weight. So you have to watch the calories to be able to lose the weight. If you continue doing the same thing over and over again, it's the definition of insanity, right? So we need to do something different. So yes, I do like MyFitnessPal. If you have a smartwatch, or if you have, or if you just carry your phone with you everywhere, it'll also look at any exercise you have that you've done, and it will quote unquote subtract those calories for you if you want it to. MyFitnessPal is free. There is a premium option to it. There's no affiliate link at all whatsoever. I just personally used MyFitnessPal. So I want to take a moment and I'm going to jump in chat, and I want to see what questions do you guys have, because I know I may have actually just given a little bit of information. So what questions do you guys have for me? And if you don't have any questions, let me know you don't have any questions too. All right, there we go. Yeah, when I first started trying to lose the weight, I was, I think, at my heaviest about 210. I think it was like 210 or like 230, something like that. And I know 20 pounds is a big difference, but I don't remember, honestly. But I know I was definitely not under 200. Right now, I am at about 150. I tend towards 150, 155. How often would you weigh yourself, and do you still weigh yourself? I do still weigh myself, and I would only do it like once per week. You definitely don't want to get on the scale repeatedly every day, because your weight will fluctuate up and down. So, that's why doing it once a week worked. And I would also do that in the morning, as soon as I got out of bed, because that's actually when you are at your lowest. All right. Doing good, doing good. So I'm going to go ahead and let's jump back Dieting is hard when you work and all the preparing takes so much time. Well, actually, Denise, I'm going to be able to explain how you can do this because I honestly I don't even want to call it a diet. What we're going to be talking about is in the next slide is um, serving sizes. Yes, this let me backtrack. So MyFitnessPal, I like that app for two reasons. One, there is a barcode scanner, so you just beep it and it's there. Also, it has a lot of the fast food meals and restaurant meals that are out there. So I think you're going to see that even after you're done here, you're going to start to look at food just a little bit differently. And whether you decide to actually count the calories or not, just by making some changes in how you eat is going to, I think it's going to make a huge difference. So let's actually talk about that, because one of the things that I noticed, at least for folks here in the US, is we have a real problem with serving sizes and portion control. So, and I know it might be a little bit hard to go in and read this, but let me go over this. So, some serving sizes, and this is from the American Heart Association. For grains, a half cup cooked rice, pasta or cooked cereal, 1 ounce of dry pasta or rice, 1 slice of bread, 1 cup of ready-to-eat cereal flakes. And if you're making a sandwich, dude, you got 2 pieces of bread right there. For vegetables, 1 cup equivalent of vegetables is 1 cup of raw vegetables or vegetable juice, 2 cups of leafy salad greens. And we're going to be talking a little bit about that as well. Fruits, 1 cup equivalent is 1 cup of fruit or a half cup of fruit juice, like orange juice. And notice that just for a moment. A half cup of fruit juice or 1 cup of fruit. Or you can also do a 1/3 cup of a fruit juice blend. So notice that serving size for the fruit juice is actually half of the whole fruit. And you know that whole fruit right there is going to probably make you a little more full than the fruit juice. So protein foods like meat, poultry, fish, dry beans, and nuts. So 3 ounces of cooked lean meat, poultry, or seafood. We're actually going to take a look at what these are. And you have probably heard these before, so it's not like I'm really giving you any new information, but I'm just reminding you. You can have 2 egg whites or 1 egg, a 1/4 cup cooked beans, 1 tablespoon of peanut butter. How much peanut butter do you use when you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? I know it was a lot more for me. And 1 tablespoon, you're like, yeah, I don't know. A half ounce of unsalted nuts or seeds. Unsalted. Note that a 1/4 cup of cooked beans equals 1 ounce of protein equivalent, but a half cup of cooked beans equals 1 vegetable. That sounds like that might be important. So for dairy foods, like your milk, yogurt, cheese, stuff like that, 1 cup equivalent is 1 cup of milk or yogurt, 1.5 ounces of natural cheese like cheddar cheese, or 2 ounces of processed cheese. So I know that's a lot of information, but I'm going to make a little more sense. So 1 cup of raw leafy vegetables or a baked potato should be about the size of a small fist. So leafy vegetables, This is going to be raw spinach leaves, a spring mix, collard greens, stuff like that. Think leaf. That's going to be the size of a small fist. And if you remember, in our previous slide, we learned that the serving size is 2 cups. So basically, it looks like that. So 3 ounces of cooked lean meat or poultry is about the size of a deck of cards. And I know you've probably heard this before. So in the US, we're all about bigger, upsize it, supersize it. Like you'll go out to a restaurant and you'll have a steak. They start at like 8 ounces. Well, the serving size is 3. So they're already giving you double the portion size. For me, I like to go and cut it in half immediately and just take half of it home. So a teaspoon of soft margarine is about the size of a single die. I didn't know that. So think about that for a moment. When you actually use margarine or butter, how much do you use? You probably use quite a bit of it, much more than the size of a single die. An ounce and a half of fat-free or low-fat cheese is about the size of 4 stacked dice. 4 stacked dice. I'm looking to see if I have any dice around here, but I don't here in my office. But the string cheese that you usually get if you buy them, it's a lot taller than 4 stacked dice. So my question to you is, were you surprised by those? Did it kind of help a little bit to see, wow, maybe I'm eating more than what I really should? Denise says, peanut butter sandwich is so fast to make for me to take to work. I slap it on there. Well, I think that you may be able to find something that's a little bit faster. What I'll typically do is, for the next day at work, what I'll do is I will take some of what I had the night before and I'll just package it up. And I may not have that tomorrow because I may just put it in the refrigerator, or I put stuff in the freezer too. And that way, maybe I'll have something from like a couple nights ago, and I'll have that for for lunch tomorrow. It really depends. Like I have fajitas that I made, I think, last week. So I have a portion of that inside my freezer that I'll probably have when I'm done here. Well, probably when I'm done with my home executive live stream. So do you guys have any questions for me at this point? I know I'm packing on the stuff here, so I do realize that. It is changing the way that you prepare what to eat. Um, Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So, how many servings of each daily? Well, that's a good question. That really comes down to um, if it fits inside of your calorie count. If you're counting calories, if you're not, then um, I didn't put that inside my slide. I didn't research that. But there's a reason why I didn't research that. So, Shar, I got you. Um, Let me continue and let's see if we can answer that question. Okay? So, I want to go and talk about the real magic trick here. This is what did it for me. What I found is foods that have more fiber to them have less calories. So I want to kind of explain how I prepare a plate. And I want to oh, there we go. I forgot. You're still on my face. More fiber equals less calories. I found that to be true. And we're going to be talking about that. And I want to change the way that you look at your plate. So think about your normal dinner, your normal dinner plate. So for us, it's usually one thing of meat. It could be chicken, like a chicken breast. Um, it'll be vegetable, and then sometimes another side dish. So in this case, I'm going to call that other side dish a starch, but it's really any other kind of side dish. I wouldn't do another meat. So this is kind of the one on the left is kind of like what you probably envisioned in your head, right? So when you go out to eat, you're getting a big hunk of steak. Generally, they'll serve that on the left. I don't know if you realize that, but they'll serve it on the left. You'll get a small vegetable as a side, and then they'll give you something else like maybe a baked potato or mashed potatoes, red potatoes. So they'll give you something else there. It could be mac and cheese. But the one on the left, that is probably the way that you are thinking about your plate. So what I did, and full disclosure, this wasn't my concept. And I need to put this link down inside of the description. I forgot to do that. Full plate living is actually where I got this concept because I had just had enough that I didn't want to diet anymore. I need something different. So over on the right, this is generally what my plate will look like. Notice that 50% of my plate is a fiber food. And we're going to talk about that. I've now reduced my meat to about 25% of my plate. And then I'm calling it a starch. Generally, it is a starch of some kind because I'm not going to give up my starches. But that's the other 25%. So I will come back to this slide so you can see it again after we're done talking about what all that means. Okay? So I definitely increased my fiber. So do you get enough fiber? Hi, Lislet. So let's talk about that. Do you actually get enough fiber? Um, this comes from, I think this might be the Mayo Clinic as well. Um, Women should try to eat at least 21 to 25 grams of fiber a day, and men should aim for 30 to 38 grams a day. Now, in the US, on average, we are only eating 3 to 5 grams of fiber per day. 3 to 5 grams of fiber per day. So, think about all over the world. Have you guys ever heard about the French women never get fat? So, they eat constantly, but they eat little bits of everything. But they love their fresh vegetables and fresh fruits. So there has to be some truth to that. Now, you might be thinking about the Asian countries. Well, they eat a lot of rice and a lot of noodles. I don't believe that rice is actually a main is I know they eat a lot of it, but I still think that they portion what they get, how much of it they get. So let's talk about, because I know when I said eat more fiber, the first thing you were thinking was probably the little ditty, beans, beans, the magical fruit. The more you eat, the more you toot, right? Let's talk about the negative side effects that just popped in your head. So there's actually two types of fiber itself. There's soluble fiber. Basically, that's going to dissolve in water and it's going to form like a gel. So think about this kind of like Jello gelatin, right? So it's going to go in, but it's going to form this gel. And that's going to be, if you've ever heard of, I'm thinking I think it's called I have the book, and of course I don't have it here with me. For folks that have like, it's like a diabetic diet, if that makes sense. You need or sugars that are going to be a little bit long lasting. These are going to be things that are going to make you feel full longer. That's one of the benefits of eating a little more fiber, is that you are going to not be as hungry between those meals. So some of those examples are going to be like dried beans, oats, barley, bananas, potatoes, and soft parts of apples and pears. Now, the insoluble fiber. So this is basically fiber that just goes in and right out. It goes in and right out. So it doesn't dissolve in water. It actually holds onto water. So that's whole bran, whole grain, nuts, corn, carrots, grapes, berries, peels of apples, and pears. Okay, I'm about to get real gross, right? So when I said corn, did that just kind of give you like little thoughts in your head about corn? I don't want to get gross. I'm trying really hard not to get gross here. But it goes in and out. In and out. So to counteract the negative side effects of eating a little more fiber is to drink more water, especially if you are eating stuff like the insoluble fiber, because it's going to hold on to water and it's like a sponge. So when you if you don't drink enough water, then it's just going to kind of be hard, but it's still going to like do the fermenting thing. Um, and yes, hopefully fermenting kind of helps give some pictures here. But if you drink more water, it actually expands because it holds on to the water. And then that way there isn't as much room for the methane, if that helps, to accumulate. It just all goes. So fiber binds with certain nutrients and actually carries them right out of the body. And I know I had actually talked about that. So when you're eating a high fiber diet, which is actually what I'm talking about, what I did, you want to drink at least 8 glasses of fluid each day. And that's fluid. It doesn't even have to necessarily be water. You need liquid. You just need liquid. What questions do you guys have at this point? Have I lost all of you? I know this is definitely different, right? But you wanted to know, I'm telling you and giving it to you straight. Because the next question that I know you're probably going to be asking is about what those high fiber foods are. And actually, we're going to be getting into that here in just a few minutes. Is there a list of foods with fiber content? Yeah, sure, and actually you're about to see it. Because I broke them down. Yep, I broke them down. So yeah, right after this live stream, about 10 minutes after, I'm going to be doing a live stream for, and I'll come over here so y'all can see my face. I'm going to be doing a live stream for all the home executive members, where I'm going to tell you the one food that is like a superfood for this. And it has almost no taste. Almost. But I added it to salads. I added it to foods, and it was really virtually undetectable. So I'll be going over that, and then I'll also show you a few, I think two gadgets that I have that helped me. So yes, that'll be, like I said, I do feel like that's going to be about 10 minutes after this stream is over. So Shar, let me go ahead and answer that question for you right now. So let's talk about high fiber foods. And I broke these down into different categories. So our first one is the fruits. So raspberries, a cup of raspberries have 8 grams of fiber in it. Who knew? Who knew? And I actually did get this information. I did get this from somewhere, which I know I have a link down below in the description. So, 1 medium pear is 5.5 grams of fiber. 1 medium apple with the skin on it is 4.5 grams of fiber. One medium banana has 3. 1 medium orange has 3. And 1 cup of strawberries has 3. So think about this for a minute. just looking at the fruits, imagine how easily you can add a little bit of fruit into your diet. In fact, you can have an apple before you eat dinner, and that's going to help. So when it comes to the vegetables, this is the one that everyone thinks of. This is like the first thing that everyone thinks about is the vegetables. So green peas, if they're boiled, a cup of that is 9 grams of fiber. I cannot eat green peas. They make me gag. So I just chop that off my list. That's a noki dokie for me. A cup of chopped boiled broccoli is 5 grams of fiber. Turnip greens, boiled. It looks like almost everything is boiled. A cup of that is 5 grams of fiber. Brussels sprouts, which I honestly have not ever had Brussels sprouts. So I may have to try that just to see if I like it. A cup of that is 4 grams of fiber. 1 medium baked potato. Guys, a medium baked potato. Did you know that was fiber? In fact, it has 4 grams of fiber. Sweet corn, a cup of that is 3.5 grams of fiber. Raw cauliflower, not a fan of that. But chopped for 1 cup is 2 grams of fiber. And a medium carrot raw is 1.5 grams of fiber. So, yeah, this is what a lot of people think about when they think of fiber. Or they think about grains, lettuce. That's what they think about. So for the grains, whole wheat spaghetti cooked, a cup of that has 6 grams of fiber. Your homework assignment, should you choose to accept it, go take a look at your spaghetti and see how much fiber is in that. Barley pearled and cooked, a cup of that is 6 grams. Bran flakes, that's without sugar, y'all. Not the frosted flakes, just bran flakes. 3/4 cup is 5.5 grams of fiber. I actually like using bran flakes as sometimes I'll go and I'll crush that up and I will add my spices and stuff to it as well, and it becomes part of a coating for baked chicken. See, you can do this. Quinoa, a cup of that cooked, is 5 grams of fiber. An oat bran muffin, 1 medium one of that is 5 grams of fiber. Instant oatmeal. Now this would be the non-flavored kind. So you don't want to get your brown sugar cinnamon, but that is 5 grams. I don't recommend the flavored kind because it usually has tons of added sugar. Air popped popcorn. This is not the kind that you put in your microwave. So this is 3 cups of that. 3 whole cups. And that's the kernels. I believe it, is it the kernels? I think it's the kernels. But 3 cups is 3.5 grams of fiber. 1 cup of cooked brown rice is 3.5 grams of fiber. 1 slice of whole wheat bread is 2 grams of fiber. And rye bread, 1 slice of that is also 2 grams of fiber. Let's finish this up with legumes, nuts, and seeds. So a cup of boiled split peas. This, if you can't see that, automatically your fiber is like increasing with the legumes, nuts, and seeds. This is definitely good. So a cup of the boiled split peas is 16 grams of fiber. Cup of boiled lentils, 15.5. A cup of boiled black beans, 15 grams of fiber. 1 cup of canned baked beans, 10 grams of fiber, 1 ounce. I don't know if you realize how much an ounce is, but it's not a lot. Of chia seeds, 10 grams of fiber. 1 ounce of almonds, which is about 23 nuts, is 3.5 grams of fiber. Pistachios, love pistachios. About 49 of those are 3 grams of fiber. 1 ounce of sunflower kernels, not with the shell, is 3 grams of fiber. Now, when it comes to the legumes, nuts, and seeds, be mindful of what you get, because honestly, when it comes to the nuts and stuff, it's going to also have a lot of fat. And these are very, while they're nutrient dense, they're also calorie dense. So just be careful as to what you're having. So before we get on to the deceptive healthy foods, I want to go and talk about, because we just went over a lot. Now that you kind of have an idea as to what these high fiber kind of foods are, was your mind starting to run with how you can incorporate some of these things into what you already eat now? So I said I was going to come back to that one slide with the plates. So let me do that. And so I've already kind of given you a basic overview of 2 steps. 1, 2, 2 steps of what I did. But now I want to give you kind of the 3rd step here. Hold on, I'm just making some changes to that slide real fast, because it wasn't looking good at all. All right, so the trick that helps. So we've already talked about fiber and how it makes you fuller longer. So we've talked about some of the high fiber foods that you can actually add to your diet. And the 3rd step in this is this. I don't know if y'all can see you can see it. So this fibrous foods here, eat this first. Usually we attack that meat, right? Because, it's a beautiful little filet mignon and I want to eat it. Well, no, eat the fibrous foods first. So that's why I'd actually recommended having an apple. If you are a little snacky, then consider having one of these high fiber foods. So this green area right here could be a salad before. Like I said, I like doing salad of like a raw spinach leaf. I will do a light vinaigrette on it. I do like Italian. I do. And I know that can have a lot of calories and sugars and stuff, but I don't put too much in there. And you can add some of these. So let's say your whole dinner is a salad. And I know you're probably like, oh my gosh, really? No, hear me out. Or your lunch. So you start with a base. And I'm going to come, now that I'm talking about this. Okay, so you start with a base of your leaves. We're going to call them leaves, whatever you choose. And then you can add some raspberries, strawberries, blueberries, right? And then you can go in and drizzle it with a little bit of raspberry vinaigrette. How's that sounding so far? Pretty good. Throw in a little bit of sunflower seeds, because we saw that those were high fiber, right? I'm going to see what other ones we have. Those were good. You could throw in some apples, but that'd be kind of weird. You could be crazy and you could chop up the broccoli, like really finely dice it in there, and toss that in if you want to. So really, it's just thinking about what are the things that you can add in there. I also like, so there's this cereal. It is Kashi Go Lean. Um, you'll find it in the breakfast aisle. And I know I liked there was like a honey almond one. So it did have a little bit of sweetness, but it had some almonds. And this cereal is like I'm trying to look to see where it is. So this is kind of like, it has a little bran, it has a little bit of oats, but it's definitely a high fiber cereal. But it added the crunch to my cereal. It added a slight bit of sweetness and it really packed on the fiber. So you can have a very filling, very good salad. If you want to go and add a little bit of meat in there because you know you need some, why not go and get they actually make diced ham that you can throw in there. Now, if you're, yes, I did actually take this to work. I know that sounds silly, but I did. And what I did, and Denise, this is actually for you, or anyone else that is working. So what I did is I would go and put in some spinach leaves. You don't need much, but put in some spinach leaves inside of like a gallon size Ziploc bag. Put all your wet ingredients into like a small sandwich bag, and you can even put your salad dressing in there too. Zip it all up. Then you're going to put all your dry ingredients, things that you want to remain crispy or crunchy. Put those into another sandwich bag. And yes, I know it's a lot of disposable stuff, but hear me out. When you get to work and it's time for lunch, take all the things that you are going to have on your salad, toss them all into the gallon-sized bag that's already there, close it, shake it up. Everything is evenly distributed with the salad dressing that way. And then you can literally just start to dump everything out into a bowl. It doesn't take long to do that. And you can get really creative with those salads. Now that I've given you a little bit of fundamentals, you can definitely do it. So we talked about the high fiber foods. Let's go into, and we're almost done here, guys. Let's go into the deceptive healthy foods. The deceptive healthy foods. My favorite is 1 cup of iceberg lettuce has 10 calories, but almost no nutritional value. I think it has 1 gram of fiber, among others. I mean, yes, there's going to be a very small amount of vitamin and other nutrients in there, but you will have a much bigger bang for your buck if you change that to a spring mix or the raw spinach leaves. So generally when it comes to your leaf kind of thing, the darker it is, the more fiber and vitamins it has in it. So think about that. Dried fruit seems like a wonderful, easy way to go and get more fiber in, right? It's portable. Well, guess what? A lot of it has added sugar in it to go and make it taste a little bit sweeter. So that's why a lot of your trail mixes may not be the best. Those nuts, they have salt on them. There's typically dried fruit in them that has added sugar. There's usually some kind of a candy that's more added sugar. Yeah, it's gonna have your protein and stuff, but take a look at that sugar content and how much protein and fiber you're actually getting, and see if it's worth the weight there and how many calories. Flavored yogurt, right? Yogurt's great. Yogurt's healthy. The flavored yogurt has almost no actual fruit, but they do add sugar. So a lot of the and I'm saying almost. If you take a look at it, you'll see that there's going to be some ingredients in there like high fructose corn syrup, glucose, or just added sugars. The sugar content on a lot of those are crazy. When you actually get in and you try to eat it, you notice that fruit is really kind of liquidy. It's really kind of liquidy. So to make, if you've ever made a dessert where you had to macerate, and that's not a gross word, macerate. Basically, it's where you have sugar and fruit, and you stir it around and you just let it sit inside of the refrigerator. What happens is that the sugar pulls out the liquid from the fruit, which the fruit already has sugar, but that's what it does, and it creates that syrup. So that's basically on the bottom of your flavored yogurt. Meal replacement bars have almost as much sugar as a candy bar. I don't know if you've ever noticed that, but it does. If it doesn't, then it's using a sugar alcohol, which there's some debate on whether or not it causes cancer. So keep that in mind. But they are really high in calories because it is a meal replacement. So while it's definitely convenient, it may not be the healthiest option. Most of your salad dressings are loaded with tons of calories, but salad dressings don't add any nutrition at all. So some good options are a lot of your vinaigrettes. Those are good, healthy options. Honestly, a little bit of vinegar and olive oil is good. Now, if you need a little bit more flavor, then definitely don't get the creamy kind. If it's creamy, it's bad. If it's creamy, it's bad. Yes, ranch dressing. I said it. And no, you can't really make a very good ranch dressing vinaigrette. It doesn't taste good, guys. It doesn't. I've tried it. So whether you have salad dressing because you need the ranch, then that's cool. Just be very mindful with how much you put on. Fruit juice, and we actually already saw the serving size of the fruit juice. Well, fruit juice has more calories than eating the actual fruit. So there are more calories in orange juice than there are in eating an orange. Veggie chips. I do like veggie chips. Now, if they say they're baked, great. But a lot of your veggie chips are still fried like potato chips. And when you fry the vegetables, it actually removes the nutrients. Oh, and then there's the added fat, So, yeah, when you fry them, it removes the nutrients. So that's really about it. Like I said, maybe there is, Denise, there is actually some dressing out there that has 0 calories. I don't remember the name of it. And I loved it. I did. I loved it. It was, I got the raspberry vinaigrette. I don't remember the name. I know I got it from Walmart, and it was always on the end, definitely not within child viewing. Like if you've ever really gone into a grocery store, you'll notice how they market a lot of that stuff. So look for it in your salad dressing aisle, more than likely on the end. Prime real estate in a grocery aisle is right in the middle. So unless they're marketing to kids, then it's right on the end. So that's really about it, guys. Hopefully you learned something. I I knew it was going to be a longer video. I didn't know how long the video was going to be. It looks like it was about an hour. Um, so yeah, if you enjoyed this, definitely consider giving it a thumbs up. If you learned something, um, hopefully this helps a little bit. Next week, we're going to be going into meal planning for your family. Um, we're not really going to be going into this because I've already kind of helped a little bit with this, but more of how do you plan your meals weekly. This will also work for your lunches, but how do you plan even if you have very picky eaters? And you can also tie what I'm going to teach you next week with this particular live stream. So, yes, thank you so much, guys, for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.